Hey, how's it going? So today I'm going to be showing you how to use Excel for many different things. So first of all, formatting cells. Under the home page, you got up here, you got font size, right? Change the font size. Pretty simple stuff, Excel. Excel and Word. Alright, if you want to change the color of your text, you can just select it and you can change it like this. You don't even have to highlight it. If you want to change the color of the cell it's in, right here, theme colors. Right now we're just going to stick with what we have. So, next up, you got borders. So borders, these are pretty simple. You got a little notch up here, which you can just click on. So, if I want to border the top of the cell, well, bottom of it, my bad. You click on bottom. Now if you select a big box and you click right border, it's not going to put them on the individual cells, it's going to put them in the right what's selected. So yeah, personally when I do this, I go under here and I click on more borders. I find it easier, honestly. But that's just me. So next up, merge and center. The text right here is merged and centered. Now, what that does is it combines all the cells and centers the text that was in your top left cell to be in the center of all those. So, if I unmerge this, look, it just looks like this. It looks ugly. We don't want this. This looks a lot better. So next up is copy and paste. Well, we were all pros at the Control C, Control V. But there's a different way to do it in Excel. So you select your data you want to copy, and you right click it and you click on copy. Not too complicated yet, but paste options is where it gets a little more complicated. In Excel you get many different paste options. Usually you're going to only be using one of these three. Sometimes though you're going to have to use a paste special. That's rare. So here I pasted just the values. I didn't paste the formula, I didn't paste how it was, just the values I had. So next, we're going to look at formulas. So the first formula we're going to look at is the max formula. So to start a formula, you have to click on the equal to sign, or equal sign. Alright, that's going to start a formula. And you can type what function you want. And there are many different functions in Excel. Don't know how many exactly, but there's a lot. So here you're going to just write max. And for max, you have to select all your data. And it's going to look at the data, and it's going to tell you exactly which one is the highest out of all the numbers you selected. So here, out of all this data, the highest one is 151,142. Same thing goes for min. Equal to sign, min. Going to return the smallest number in a set of values, ignores the logical values in text. Basically, if you're unsure if it's the right function, you can always use the brief description it has when you click on it. Not too complex. Average. Equal to average. Did they change this? I'm not sure. I recall it being equals to AVG, but no, yeah, they didn't change it. Alright, well, you just write equals to average, and it's gonna look at all your data, add them all up together, and subtract them by the number of cells or amounts of data. So yeah, not too complicated. And the last one is count. This just counts the amount of highlighted cells you have. So, formulas. You also have different symbols for each formula. Well, for each formula in formulas. For addition, it's pretty simple. Same as when you write. It's a plus sign. Subtraction, same thing. A dash. But it's when you get to multiplication that it gets a little tricky if you're not experienced. It has to be a star sign, not an X. An X is gonna freak Excel out. And if you want to divide, it's a division. It's a forward slash. If it's an exponent, Shift 6 on my keyboard does the little triangle. Don't know the exact name of this symbol, but that's the for an exponent. All right. Last formula is the negative is for interest rate. So here I got an interest rate, right? This is the formula. It's negative PMT, or the PMT formula. Now this works in Excel, you just do equals to PMT. Calculates the payment for a loan based on a constant payment and a constant interest rate. So for example, if I have an interest rate of 2,000, well, I get a monthly payment on a $500 thing. I get a monthly payment of $243.19. Now, I want to explain a important feature of Excel, which is the dollar signs. Now, it's important to know that you have to place the dollar signs before the letter of the cell and before the number, or else the Excel freaks out and doesn't work. Now, what a dollar sign does is when I use the fill handle, instead of shifting all the cells it's looking to the right, for example, if I try to move to the right, it's going to keep the exact same values. Now, if I remove the dollar signs and fill it up again, it won't work because there's no number in the cell. So, dollar signs, not too complicated, but very useful. Right here, I got some simple formulas. Just if you put a cell, it's just going to recopy the cell. Total cost, just multiplication, 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 and a subtraction. So next up, charts. Now here I got a couple examples of what some bad charts look like. Can you see anything in here? No, you can't. But what about in here? Like where's North America? Where's USA? Where are they? You just don't know. So if you want to add a chart, you can click on your chart. You should go in Insert, Recommended Charts. Here you get all charts here. Select some that are pertinent or provide a good information for what you're doing. Now, if you want to add a title to a chart, you click on the chart, you click on this plus sign at the top right of the chart, and you can be able to add a chart title. Now, what a chart title does, well, it adds a text box over it, and you can write inside the text box. And there's many features of this. For example, if I want to edit my axes, I can click on here and more options. And here is gonna pull up a wizard, and you'll be able to edit it. So yeah, not too complex. And yeah. So next up is pivot charts. Now, pivot charts are the same as other charts, except they're just a lot better. Well, yeah, that's how I describe it. So to create a pivot chart, you're gonna need a table. And now you're gonna have to go into table design and summarize with pivot chart. Usually I choose to do new worksheet, but if I wanted here, I click on existing worksheet, click on this, I got my pivot chart here. Now I already have pivot charts and pivot tables. So yeah, this is a pivot table right here. This is what happens when you add it. So once you add it, you're gonna get a field list that pulls up on your screen. Now what you can do with the field list is you're gonna have a bunch of different data, and you have to select the data and add them to their respective boxes where they're supposed to be at. Not too complicated, and you'll end up with a pivot table like this. And now if you want to create a pivot chart, click on your pivot table analysis, pivot charts. Now you'll have a bunch of different charts. It's the same ones as in the other one, as in when you normally do them, except pivot charts are special because you can add a slicer to them by going on your pivot table analysis, insert slider. You can choose a slicer that you want. So for example here, these graphs, well, you can't really see into detail what's about. Like, oh, what if I want to know exactly what's happening in right here, some of December in Europe? Well, I can click and it's gonna enhance the image to be more precise. So pivot table is not too complex either. Next up is cross-tabulated data. Um, so basically what happens is you select it and you go to data and from table/range. Now you go to transform, unpivot other columns, you change this to a date, and you change this to not time, date. And here you can add a value, you can change this. So for example here I can say now we're gonna X this out, and basically what that's gonna do is instead of just creating this into a table, it's also gonna create a new table on a new worksheet that is slightly that is different from what you normally get. And this would, if you change this into pivot charts, you're gonna get different outcomes, like a different graph than what happens in here, which is pretty neat. So next up is macros. So here I have a simple macro. Just select the data. Now it's very important to put it in the right spot. So if I go into the developer tab, if you want to record a macro, click on record macro right here. And that's just going to start recording a macro. And basically what a macro does is it's going to record what you did. And if you want to redo it, you just click on macros and you select and you run it. And it's going to redo exactly what you did at the exact same spots. So for example here, if I run macro 1, it's going to remove all the decimals and change this date up here. If I run all macros 2, if I run macro 2, I've never had this happen before, but no, it still worked. I don't know what the problem was, but so we're all good. So yeah, that's basically it. Oh wait, no, one last thing about macros. Try to delete this. All right. So if I had a macro in the wrong spot, it can be very detrimental. So if I go under macros and I run the first one, well, yeah, that's not normal. And so basically what you have to do is you have to add it at the exact spot that it was at. If I add it here, well, I'm going to go copy and paste it back. And I run the macro, it's going to work. Just have to do it at the right spot. Perfect. Alright, so yeah, that's basically it.